This is Zarpado, 60 minutes of non-stop wild facts. If you're into learning stuff nobody else knows, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell. Let's dive in. The automatic doors at grocery stores don't have any camera watching you. That black box up top is hiding a microwave radar, quietly firing invisible pulses at the floor. When you walk up, those pulses bounce off your body and come back to the sensor. Your movement shifts the wave's frequency, the computer catches it, and the glass slides open. Hikikomori is one of the most devastating silent crises in Japan. More than 1.5 million young people are estimated to be living completely locked away in their bedrooms, skipping school and work entirely. This isn't laziness. It's a psychological collapse under brutal social pressure to study nonstop, work nonstop, and never fail. Some haven't stepped outside their room in over 10 years. The moon doesn't actually get bigger near the horizon. That's a pure optical illusion. When it's high in the sky, your brain has nothing nearby to compare its size to. When it's low, it gets stacked up against trees, buildings, and mountains on the horizon, and your brain gets confused. It figures anything that big next to those objects must be massive, even though its real size never changes by a single inch. Olives straight off the tree are basically poison. Pick a ripe black olive and pop it in your mouth, and you'll be spitting it out and crying within seconds. They're loaded with a compound called oleuropein that makes them brutally bitter and harsh. To make them edible, humans had to invent week-long processes, curing them in lye, brine, or ash water to break down that compound before they ever hit a jar. The only insect living in Antarctica is a tiny mosquito with no wings. It lost them through evolution because flying would just get it hurled straight into the ocean by hurricane-force winds. Its survival trick for surviving temperatures of 40 degrees below zero is extreme. When winter hits, it freezes solid on purpose, shutting down its entire biology and waits for the summer sun to thaw it back to life. Less than 1% of the plants in the Amazon have ever been scientifically studied, even though 25% of modern medicines come from the rainforest. Cancer treatments, malaria drugs, anesthetics, all sourced from there. We're actively cutting down the planet's biggest pharmacological lab without even knowing what cures might still be hiding in its branches. Fever isn't the illness itself. It's your body's defense mechanism kicking in. Your immune system deliberately cranks up your core temperature because most viruses and bacteria perform terribly in high heat. Your body literally turns itself into an oven to cook the invaders. You feel awful the whole time, but that fever is doing exactly its job protecting you. The daisy you know isn't actually one flower. It's a visual trick. What looks like a single bloom belongs to the sunflower family. That yellow center is made up of hundreds of tiny, independent, tube-shaped flowers packed together. And every single white petal you pull off while playing He Loves Me Not is, botanically speaking, its own complete flower. The water buffalo is the workhorse of Asia. It seems impossible that a creature weighing over a ton could move through flooded rice fields without sinking. But the secret is in its hooves. They're incredibly wide with a hyper-flexible joint that lets the toes splay out like flippers on contact with mud, spreading the weight so it never gets stuck. Yawning isn't about pulling more oxygen into your blood. That old myth has been completely debunked. The leading scientific theory today says its real job is cooling down your brain. Opening your mouth wide and taking a deep breath lets cool air chill the blood vessels in your face and skull, sharpening your mental performance right when you're at your most tired. China's ghost cities are one of the most surreal urban phenomena on the planet. The government and developers built entire metropolises with cutting-edge skyscrapers, stadiums, and 6-lane highways, but no people. They were born out of a speculative bubble designed to prop up GDP growth. The apartments were priced so high nobody bought them, and today they sit as perfectly preserved, apocalyptic ghost towns. Serengeti National Park is home to the Great Migration, where 1.5 million wildebeest and zebras sweep across Africa, chasing the rain in an endless cycle. The scale is so massive that these herds drop over 400 tons of dung a day. That gigantic amount of natural fertilizer, combined with constant trampling from their hooves, is exactly what keeps the entire African plain alive, green, and fertile. Your hypothalamus is your body's thermostat. When it's hot, it orders the blood vessels near your skin to widen and release heat into the air, and kicks your sweat glands into gear to cool you through evaporation. When it's freezing cold, it pulls blood away from your fingers and nose toward your vital organs and orders your muscles to shiver, generating heat through internal friction. The babi rusa is a wild pig from the Indonesian island of Sulawesi that looks straight out of a nightmare. Its upper tusks don't grow downward. Instead, they punch straight through the skin of its own snout and curve backward, aiming right at its own eyes. If a male can't find hard trees to wear them down on daily, those tusks will eventually drill straight into his own skull and kill him. Every single giant panda on Earth is legally owned by the Chinese government, no exceptions. China leases them to foreign zoos for around $1 million a year, and that money officially funds conservation programs. If a cub is born abroad, it's still Chinese property and has to be sent back within a few years. It's a diplomatic weapon known as panda diplomacy. LiDAR technology has revealed the Amazon was never an untouched wilderness. Archaeologists flying planes equipped with lasers that can see straight through the canopy have scanned the jungle floor and uncovered entire networks of megacities, pyramids, roads, and aqueduct systems buried under the vegetation. Civilizations that once held millions of people, long before Europeans ever reached the continent. The longest fence in the world isn't in China, it's in Australia. Built back in the 1880s, the dingo fence stretches over 3,500 miles, farther than the distance between Madrid and Moscow. Its only job is splitting the continent in two, keeping wild dingoes away from the fertile southeast, where millions of sheep are raised. The walls inside cruise ship cabins aren't brick or wood. They're prefabricated steel panels, required by strict fire safety regulations out at sea. Which means if you pack strong magnets in your suitcase, you can use them to hang jackets, maps, or hats anywhere on the walls, even on the ceiling of your cabin. Lilies are one of the most common flowers in bouquets and gardens, but they're extremely toxic to cats. A cat doesn't even need to eat the plant. Just licking a bit of pollen or drinking water from the vase can trigger kidney failure within days. The scariest part is most owners have no idea about this risk until it's already too late. That heavily arched back you see in bench press isn't cheating or bad form. When pros build that exaggerated arch, they're pinning their shoulder blades tight against the bench. That protects the delicate rotator cuffs and physically shortens the distance the bar has to travel. The payoff: the lower chest recruits more muscle, letting them lift significantly more weight safely. The Victor Emmanuel Monument in Rome is massive, blindingly white, and Romans genuinely despise it. They call it the wedding cake or the typewriter. It was built by tearing down an entire medieval neighborhood using white marble so bright it practically blinds you in the sun. It's so absurdly oversized that during construction, they held a 20-person dinner party inside the belly of one of its bronze horses. Police car tires are built with a special compound that blends summer tire grip with load tire durability. Their sidewalls are reinforced so that if a tire blows out at high speed during a chase, it won't shred or come off the rim, letting the driver stay in control and keep driving for miles without stopping. Male canaries have one of the strangest abilities in the animal kingdom. To learn new songs every spring, they literally destroy part of their own brain over the winter. They lose around 20% of their brain mass during that season, then regrow it months later with fresh space to store brand new melodies. They're the only known animal that voluntarily resets its own brain every year. Nauru is a tiny Pacific island and the only country on Earth with no official capital. It has a district called Yaren where the government buildings are clustered, but no law or constitution formally names it the capital. It's been a country with no capital city since its independence, making it a totally unique case in modern political and geographic history. Jamais vu is the opposite of déjà vu, and it's far more unsettling. It happens when you look at something completely familiar, like your own mother's face or a common word like car, and for a few seconds your brain just doesn't recognize it at all. Suddenly it looks strange, foreign, meaningless. It's a temporary short circuit in your brain's recognition system. Laser hair removal works on the same principle as a black t-shirt under the August sun. Dark colors absorb light and trap heat, while white reflects it. The device fires an intense flash of light that dark hair soaks up, converting it into extreme heat that fries the root instantly. That's why it works best on dark hair with light skin, since light-colored hair just reflects the light without burning. On Assateague Island in the United States, you don't find seagulls or crabs at the beach. You run into entire herds of wild horses galloping through the sand and swimming in the ocean. They've been there for hundreds of years, likely descended from survivors of a Spanish shipwreck, and they've adapted to drinking water from puddles and eating salty dune grass. In Mumbai, one of the most densely populated cities on the planet, wild leopards live right on the edges of the metropolis. At night, they slip through the streets like shadows to hunt stray dogs while millions of people sleep just feet away. They're the largest land predators that have successfully adapted to life inside a major modern city, moving like ghosts through the concrete. In the Bay of Fundy, on Canada's east coast, the most extreme tidal event on Earth happens every single day. The bay's funnel shape creates a resonance that makes sea level rise and fall 50 feet every 12 hours. Roughly the height of a 5-story building. The sheer volume of water moving in and out with each tide outpaces the combined flow of every freshwater river on the planet. Roller coasters only have one motor in the entire ride. That chain making the clack, clack, clack sound dragging you up to the first big drop is the only moment there's any mechanical power at all. After that, the next 2 minutes of twists and loops run purely on inertia, gravity, and potential energy converting into kinetic energy. No motor is pushing you for the rest of the ride. Food delivery in Seoul is basically science fiction made real. You could be sitting under a tree in the middle of a massive park, and the delivery driver will still find you thanks to GPS. But here's the wild part. The food arrives hot, served on real ceramic dishware with actual metal utensils. And an hour later, that same driver comes back to the park to pick up the dirty dishes. Soda bottles don't have star-shaped bottoms as some design flex. Carbon dioxide under pressure would push a flat base outward, making the bottle unstable. That star shape spreads the internal pressure evenly across the base, letting it hold up without warping. If the bottom were completely flat, the bottle wouldn't be able to stand on its own. The glass squid is almost completely transparent, except for its eyes and digestive gland. To keep those visible parts from giving it away to predators swimming below and looking up, it has light-producing organs under its eyes that match the exact intensity of light filtering down from the surface. It's an active camouflage system that makes it nearly invisible, a real biological cloak. In the Japanese village of Nagoro, there's a valley known as the Valley of the Dolls. One resident started making human-sized cloth dolls to replace every neighbor who died or moved away. Today, there are more than 350 dolls sitting at bus stops, in schools, and in gardens throughout the village, outnumbering the actual living residents 10 to 1. In the canals of Xochimilco in Mexico, there's a small island covered in thousands of old, decaying dolls hanging from the trees. The original owner hung them to appease the spirit of a young girl who had drowned nearby. Over time, humidity and sun have warped the plastic, creating an atmosphere so unsettling it's become a world-famous dark tourism destination. The City of the Dead in Cairo is a 4-mile-long Islamic cemetery where the living and the dead coexist every single day. Because of a severe housing crisis, thousands of families have turned lavish historic mausoleums into homes with electricity and running water, living among the tombs and using the crypt courtyards as living rooms to receive guests. Cologne Cathedral took over 600 years to build. During World War II, Allied bombing raids flattened the entire city of Cologne into rubble, but the cathedral stayed standing. That wasn't a miracle. Pilots were ordered not to destroy it because they were using its massive twin dark towers as a visual landmark to navigate by and avoid getting lost during night missions. The perfect white sand at many luxury resorts and artificial islands doesn't come from the ocean. Since there isn't enough natural sand to go around, companies buy mountain rock straight from inland quarries. That rock gets fed into giant industrial crushers until it's ground into fine, tropical-looking powder. So when you're lying on it soaking up the sun, you're actually lying on mountain rock and stone, mechanically shaped to look like the Caribbean. Never set your favorite song as your alarm tone, because you'll end up hating it within weeks. Your brain quickly links that melody to the violent cortisol spike it releases to yank you out of deep sleep. That conditioned response gets so strong that if you hear the same song on the radio at 3 in the afternoon, your body will experience an instant, physical micro-panic attack. The Indian rhino has just one horn, unlike its African cousin. But what really makes it unique is its skin, split into thick plates separated by deep folds that look exactly like the metal rivets on a suit of medieval armor. It looks like a prehistoric animal wearing custom-fitted steel plating. And surprisingly to most people, they're also incredibly strong swimmers for their size. A 3-second distraction behind the wheel can kill you. At 60 miles an hour, you cover almost the length of a full football field without looking at the road, driving completely blind. Just changing a song on your phone can send you cruising hundreds of feet without seeing what's ahead, missing braking cars, pedestrians, any obstacle in your path. A chameleon's tongue isn't just fast. It's a biological catapult that blows past every human physical limit. The acceleration when it fires to snatch an insect hits 264 Gs. For comparison, a fighter pilot blacks out at 9 Gs, and human bones would shatter before reaching 15. The foam in your shampoo has zero cleaning power. That bubble-producing compound, sodium lauryl sulfate, is added purely for consumer psychology. Our brains link foam with feeling clean, so without bubbles, we don't feel like we're actually washing, even though the product cleans exactly the same without them. It's pure marketing dressed up as a necessary ingredient. The honey badger, known as the ratel in Africa, is famous for taking on lions. Its secret isn't strength, it's skin. It's so incredibly thick and loose that if a leopard grabs it by the neck, the badger can literally twist around inside its own skin without the predator letting go, spin, and bite the face of the animal holding it. The human heart has its own electrical system, completely independent from the brain, called the sinus node. Unlike your arm muscles, which need signals from your brain to move, the heart generates its own electrical impulses. If a surgeon pulls a heart out of the chest during surgery, that heart will keep beating on its own on the operating table, as long as it's still getting enough oxygen. The halo effect is a cognitive bias that gets everyone. If you perceive someone as physically attractive, your brain automatically assumes they're also smarter, more honest, more competent, and kinder. It's a mental trap. Advertisers exploit constantly to get you to trust a product or service just because of the face on the ad. When a plane lands, its wheels touch the runway completely stopped. That white smoke you see on landing isn't the braking system. It's the tire burning as it goes from 155 miles an hour to 0 in a fraction of a second, shedding a layer of rubber on impact to match the wheel's speed to the plane's. The cassowary is considered the most dangerous bird on Earth for one simple reason. It's got a 5-inch claw on each foot, sharp as a kitchen knife. It can leap 6.5 feet in the air and deliver a downward kick with enough force to slice a predator's abdomen wide open in a single, lethal strike. When you hear a song you hate 10 times on the radio and catch yourself humming it without meaning to, your taste in music hasn't changed. Your brain confuses how easily it recognizes a melody with actually liking it. It's a trick the music industry knows well and uses deliberately, engineering hits through sheer repetition across mass media. Planet Earth is smoother than a billiard ball at true scale. Shrink Earth down to the size of a pool ball, and official World Championship rules would say it's too smooth to legally play with. Mount Everest and the Mariana Trench would be microscopic imperfections, completely invisible to your fingertip. The Australian white ibis is a close relative of the sacred ibis worshipped in ancient Egypt, tied to the god Thoth. In modern Australia, people mockingly call them bin chickens because they steal food out of trash cans in parks. But in the wild, they've developed a genius tactic to eat extremely toxic cane toads. They grab them and scrub them against rocks underwater until every trace of poison is gone before swallowing. Those deep grooves on escalator steps aren't there to stop you from slipping. At the top and bottom, a metal comb plate has teeth that lock perfectly into those grooves to act as a barrier. Without grooves, pebbles, trash, shoelaces, and small objects would slide straight under the floor and completely destroy the machine's central motor. $500,000 modern tractors and combine harvesters aren't actually driven by the farmer. They run on military-grade GPS precise to under an inch, guiding themselves through the field. The driver just sits there watching screens while the machine plants, harvests, and works a field the size of 100 football stadiums, cutting perfectly straight rows without drifting once. In northern France, there's a zone the size of Paris that's been off-limits to humans for over a century. After World War I, the soil was so brutally poisoned with lead, arsenic, mercury, and millions of unexploded bombs that the government declared it unrecoverable forever. Nothing grows there, and anyone who wanders in is risking real death. The whale shark, the biggest fish in the world, has no eyelids to protect its massive eyeballs. Its evolutionary fix is wild. The surface of its own eyes is covered in thousands of tiny tooth-like scales called dermal denticles, growing directly on the eyeball itself to armor it against impacts and attacks from any marine predator. The Goliath frog of Central Africa is the size of a house cat and can weigh over 6.5 pounds. It doesn't build the typical bubble nest. It's strong enough to lift and move rocks weighing up to 4.5 pounds to build physical dams in African rivers, shielding its tadpoles from the current until they're big enough to survive on their own. The giant Pacific octopus can weigh over 150 pounds and stretch nearly 30 feet across. It has 3 hearts and 9 brains. Its blood is blue because it uses copper instead of iron to carry oxygen. Since it doesn't have a single bone in its entire body, it can squeeze its whole mass through any gap big enough for its beak to fit through, which is about the size of a coin. The rotating plate inside your microwave isn't a design accessory. The appliance cooks by creating standing waves of radiation, which produce extreme hot spots and totally cold dead zones inside the box. If that plate didn't keep spinning to cycle your food through those hot spots, you'd end up with half-boiling soup and the other half stone cold after several minutes of cooking. Green, yellow, orange, and red bell peppers are exactly the same fruit, off the exact same plant. They're not different varieties or species. Green is simply the unripe, bitter version. Leave it on the plant for months and it turns red and sweet. That's exactly why red peppers always cost more at the store. They need more time on the plant, more water, and more care while ripening. A gasoline engine only produces real power in a very narrow rev range, roughly between 2,000 and 4,000 RPM. If a car only had one gear, it could either climb a hill and max out at 20 miles an hour, or hit 75 but never get moving from a dead stop. Gears are multiplier tools that keep the engine running in its efficient zone at all times. Preheating the oven isn't some cookbook superstition. Baking needs a violent blast of heat from the very first second. Put cake batter into a cold oven that heats up gradually, and the butter melts and runs out before the flour ever cooks, while the leavening kicks in at the wrong time. The result is guaranteed: a flat, hard brick instead of a fluffy cake. The two-humped Bactrian camel of the Gobi Desert is probably the toughest land animal on the planet. It handles summer heat above 120 degrees and winter blizzards down to 20 below zero. It drinks salt water without getting sick and can lose up to 30% of its body water and keep walking. A roadside billboard out in the suburbs might cost around $550 a month, but the giant banners covering construction sites in downtown Madrid or Times Square can run between $33,000 and $165,000 for just a couple of weeks. The price comes down to estimated visual impact, how many thousands of different eyeballs will see it every single day. The cork oak is the only tree on Earth that survives having its bark ripped off. Wine cork doesn't come from a cut-down tree, it comes from the living bark of this tree, grown mainly in Portugal and Spain. Every 9 to 12 years, harvesters peel the trunk like taking off a coat. The tree's left bare, but it regrows a thick new layer of cork over the following decade in a fully sustainable cycle. Salting pineapple sounds backwards, but in the Philippines and Mexico, it's totally normal. Your tongue has receptors for both sweet and bitter. Pineapple hides acidic, bitter compounds. Salt temporarily shuts down the bitter receptors on your tongue, blocking that signal entirely. Your brain only picks up the sweetness, making the fruit taste way sweeter than it actually is. The world's biggest container ships run on engines the size of a 3-story building. Their pistons move so slowly, around 100 revolutions per minute, that you could actually watch them move if you stood inside the engine room. Yet they generate roughly 100,000 horsepower, exactly the force needed to push hundreds of thousands of tons of steel across the ocean. The bowhead whale can live past 211 years old, blowing past any life expectancy known in mammals. Its genome evolved to duplicate the genes responsible for repairing damaged DNA and suppressing tumor growth, letting it age for centuries without developing the degenerative diseases that kill off every other mammal far sooner. Your eyes have a blind spot where the optic nerve connects to the retina, since there are 0 photoreceptors at that exact point. You never notice because your brain acts like a permanent photo editor. It pulls information from your other eye and the surrounding colors to fill that gap in real time, literally inventing what's missing so your vision feels seamless. The warthog has a survival trick no other animal has quite mastered. It backs into its own burrow, tail first. It does this so its tusks and armored head are always facing the entrance, turning its own body into an impossible plug for any predator that tries to come in after it. A single bee sting can kill someone with an allergy through anaphylactic shock, but in a completely healthy adult with no allergies, the lethal dose comes down to kidney failure from accumulated venom. A human can typically handle around 10 stings per pound of body weight, meaning an average adult could survive somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 simultaneous stings before their kidneys give out. After just 14 days of total inactivity, your body starts eating its own muscle. Because maintaining it burns too much energy, and your system assumes you don't need it anymore. You lose up to 20% of your cardiovascular capacity in that window, and your muscle mass drops drastically within a month. Astronauts in space go through this exact process even faster. The Antarctic ice fish survives in waters that would freeze any other vertebrate solid. Evolution stripped it of all red blood cells, the ones that would freeze first. Its blood runs completely clear and pumps antifreeze proteins that physically latch onto ice crystals, trying to form in its veins, actively stopping the animal from turning into a solid block of ice. Cows don't chew for fun. They physically can't digest grass in one pass. They've got a 4-chambered stomach. They swallow grass barely chewed, ferment it in the first chamber, then vomit it back up into their mouth. That regurgitated lump is called cud. They spend hours grinding through that material to break down tough plant cellulose before swallowing it a second time. Electric cars accelerate faster than gas cars for one basic reason of physics. A gas engine needs to spin up to 5,000 RPM to unleash its full power, and shifting gears burns time along the way. An electric motor has no gears, and its force is magnetic. It has 100% of its torque available from 0 miles an hour so all that power hits the wheels instantly. The bullet ant's sting is considered the most painful thing any insect can inflict on Earth. People who've survived it describe it as being shot with an actual bullet, and the pain doesn't fade for a full 24 hours. In the Mawe tribe of the Amazon, the coming-of-age ritual for boys involves sliding their hands into gloves woven full of these furious ants and enduring 10 minutes without screaming. Looking inside a penguin's mouth is like staring into a horror movie monster. They don't have bone teeth, but the entire tongue and roof of the mouth are lined with sharp spines made of keratin, the same material as your fingernails, all angled backward toward the throat. Once a fish enters that beak, sliding back out is physically impossible. The backward-facing spines mechanically block it. A car's hydraulic brake system is a marvel of applied physics. When you press the pedal, you're pushing incompressible fluid through narrow tubes. That force travels and multiplies once it hits the bigger pistons at the wheels, clamping pads against the metal disc. All of the vehicle's kinetic energy converts into extreme heat through friction within just a few feet, stopping tons of moving mass cold. Barcelona, Paris, and Rome are safe from violent crime, but they're the world capital of organized pickpocketing. These gangs aren't desperate amateurs. They're international operations with clearly defined roles. One person stains your jacket, another pretends to help clean it while bumping into you from behind. A third hand slips your wallet out without you noticing, passing it to a fourth member who vanishes instantly into the subway. Construction on the Athens metro got delayed for decades because every time workers dug a new tunnel, an ancient city showed up underneath. Today, some stations are literally underground museums, with glass walls showing the exact archaeological layers workers had to navigate to lay the tracks. Layers of civilization stacked from classical Athens. Lisbon's Belém Tower was built in the year 1515, right in the middle of the Tagus River, as a defensive fortress to protect the city from invading ships. Visit today, and you'll find it standing right against the shore, touching dry land. The brutal earthquake and tsunami of 1755 was so devastating, it altered the entire course of the river, leaving the tower stranded on the bank forever. Deep in the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth, drive down the Pan American Highway, and you'll suddenly see a massive, hyper-realistic human hand, 36 feet tall, rising straight out of the sand. It's a concrete sculpture by Chilean artist Mario Irarrázaval, built to capture how small humans are against the crushing vastness and isolation of the desert. The Hawaiian Islands are drifting toward Alaska at about 3 inches a year, roughly the same speed your fingernails grow. They're sitting on a tectonic plate that's constantly sliding across the ocean floor. Millions of years from now, what's a tropical paradise of palm trees and beaches today could end up sitting in the planet's Arctic latitudes. Those parking garage columns look excessively thick for a reason. They're engineered to withstand both a car crash impact and the extreme heat of a fire without compromising the building sitting on top. In Hong Kong, a single parking space has sold for over $1 million because space is so scarce that parking is worth more than a luxury apartment anywhere else on Earth. Benidorm has the highest density of skyscrapers per square mile in the world. After New York, that intensely vertical design wasn't an accident. It was deliberately planned so sea air could flow better between the buildings, and so every resident, even those 10 rows of buildings back. The temporalis muscle is what you feel flexing at your temples when you clench your teeth hard. Pound for pound, it's one of the most powerful muscles in the human body, and it's the main reason you can close your jaw with enough force to crush hard food, sending that power straight into your back teeth with brutal efficiency. Anacondas don't kill prey by slowly suffocating them, despite the popular myth. The reality is much faster. Every time the prey exhales, the snake squeezes just a little tighter, and the force is so brutal it completely cuts off blood flow. The prey's heart runs out of blood to pump and goes into cardiac arrest within seconds, long before oxygen is even the problem. Curtuscalax, known as chimney cake, is a traditional Eastern European treat that's basically edible engineering. The dough is never baked in a pan. It's wrapped in a spiral around a wooden cylinder and slowly rotated over burning coals. The outer sugar caramelizes into a crunchy exoskeleton, while the dough inside cooks in its own trapped steam, forming a hollow tube you unroll to eat. Matcha isn't just crushed up green tea. Weeks before harvest, farmers cover the entire plantation with black tarps to block out sunlight. The plant panics and massively overproduces chlorophyll and L-theanine just to survive. That overproduction is exactly what gives matcha its radioactive neon green color and its unique calm energy effect that never leaves you jittery. Archaeologists uncovered a black room in Pompeii, buried for nearly 2,000 years under the ashes of Vesuvius. It's a massive banquet hall with walls painted completely black. That wasn't a funeral color choice. The owners picked it so soot from the oil lamps wouldn't stain the decor. Against that dark backdrop, stunning frescoes of Helen of Troy and Apollo sit in near-perfect condition. A road speed limit isn't just eyeballed. It's calculated using a technical formula called stopping sight distance. Engineers measure exactly how much pavement a driver can see before a curve or a hill crest. The limit gets set so that, at that speed, an average driver has enough time to spot a sudden obstacle, react, and brake completely before hitting it. The most profitable business on earth doesn't sell a single physical product. Not oil, not weapons, not diamonds. Payment networks like Visa and MasterCard post some of the highest net profit margins on the planet. They don't lend money or take on default risk. They're simply the digital toll booth on a global financial highway, taking a tiny cut for processing millions of transactions a second at almost zero overhead. When the dry season turns brutal, some alligators don't go looking for another lake or migrate. They do the opposite. They go into estivation, basically hibernation, but to escape heat instead of cold. They bury themselves in wet mud, slow their heart rate down to 1 beat per minute, and let the mud harden into a clay shell around them, sleeping for months until the rains soften the ground again. Hotel star ratings don't measure real luxury or how beautiful a place is. They measure compliance with very specific legal requirements. To earn 5 stars in many European countries, the law demands hallways of a certain width, a 24-hour front desk, valet service, and room service. You could build the most luxurious hotel on earth, but without an elevator or a bellhop, regulations will only ever give you 3 stars. Saltwater crabs can release millions of microscopic larvae straight into the ocean. Freshwater crabs can't pull that off. The current would sweep away and kill every one of their babies. So the mother incubates the eggs directly under her abdomen. When they hatch, they're not larvae, they're perfect miniature replicas of the adults. Hundreds of mini crabs cling to their mother's body for weeks until they're big enough to survive alone. Lions and leopards mostly avoid hunting in daylight to keep from dying of heat stroke. A big cat sprinting at nearly 40 miles an hour under a 104-degree sun would cook itself alive within minutes. They hunt at night because cool air acts as a biological radiator for their overheated muscles. Evolution also gave them the tapetum lucidum, a mirror at the back of the eye that amplifies moonlight and turns them into night snipers. Modern paddleboarding didn't start as an extreme sport. Local surf instructors needed to keep an eye on rookie tourists and photograph them without dunking their cameras. To get a better view and move fast between the waves, they stood up on extra long boards and paddled around swimmers using canoe oars. An adult elephant eats up to 330 pounds of food a day and can't survive on cheap grass. It needs a daily buffet of fresh branches, top-quality hay, tons of fruit, a variety of vegetables, and specific vitamin supplements. Feeding just one elephant costs a European zoo between $55,000 and $77,000 a year. For comparison, a lion only needs about 22 to 33 pounds of meat a day. The top 2 vertebrae in your neck, called the atlas and the axis, are the single most critical, vulnerable point in your entire body. Your brainstem and vagus nerve run right through there. If whiplash misaligns these vertebrae by even a millimeter, you won't just get neck pain. It can trigger vague, baffling symptoms throughout the body, like heart arrhythmias, digestive problems, migraines, and constant vertigo that doctors can take months to properly diagnose. Today, only around 50 to 55% of couples make it together to age 65. Gray divorce, the rise in breakups among people over 60, has doubled over the last 2 decades. Once they retire, without kids or work to distract them, a lot of couples discover they're basically total strangers and decide not to spend their last 20 years with an involuntary roommate. The North American opossum looks like a giant zombie rat with 50 needle-sharp teeth and a fierce attitude. It's all theater. They're deeply cowardly animals. When they're scared, they don't attack. They slip into an involuntary coma and instinctively play dead. On top of that, their body temperature runs so low that it's basically impossible for them to catch or spread rabies. We want to go to Mars not for tourism, but because it's the only reachable planet that could serve as a backup for humanity. It has frozen water under its surface, and a day that's 24 hours and 37 minutes long, easily compatible with our biological rhythm. Mars also used to look just like Earth before it lost its magnetic field. Coke really does taste different depending on the container, and it's not in your head. The formula is identical, but the packaging changes the flavor. Aluminum cans have an internal polymer that soaks up faint notes from the liquid. Plastic bottles are slightly porous, letting some carbonation escape and a bit of oxygen in. Glass is chemically inert, absorbing and leaking nothing, giving you the purest flavor exactly as it left the factory. The ostrich is the only bird on Earth with just 2 toes on each foot. It evolved that way to mimic a horse's hoof, letting it hit speeds of 45 miles an hour. Its real weapon is the inner claw, a rock-hard 4-inch talon that shoots forward with every kick. A single strike carries the force of a small car and can gut a full-grown predator in one hit. Blood donation bags are a quiet miracle of medical engineering. They're made from a special PVC blended with a plasticizer that leaches into the blood and acts as a biological preservative, keeping red blood cell walls intact. They come pre-filled with citrate to stop clotting and dextrose, plain sugar, to keep the cells fed during the 42 days the blood can be stored. Pistachio prices have jumped almost 50% in recent years, and there are now organized crime rings specializing in stealing them. The reason is biological. A pistachio tree takes up to 10 years to produce its first commercial crop. On top of that, they're incredibly demanding, needing brutally hot summers and at least 1,000 hours of winter cold just to properly go dormant and bloom before they can ever be harvested. Movies are never filmed in the order you see them on screen. They're shot in location blocks to save money. If the opening scene and the final scene both happen in the same bar, they get filmed on the same day, forcing actors to emotionally jump between the beginning and end of the story within a few hours. A typical shoot runs 30 to 90 days, but barely captures 1 to 3 minutes of usable footage per day. Bristlecone pines can live past 5,000 years old, thanks to a strategy that's the exact opposite of every other tree's. When lightning or insects damage a branch, a normal tree burns energy trying to heal it. This pine does the reverse. It cuts off water to that section, lets the branch die, and lets it dry out completely. That dead wood turns rock hard, forming an impenetrable shell around the living tissue still inside. When you and your dog lock eyes, both of your brains release a massive spike of oxytocin, the exact same hormone and chemical process that bonds a human mother to her newborn. It's not a metaphor. It's an identical biochemical reaction, measurable in a lab. Medically documented, living with a dog lowers cortisol, drops blood pressure, and extends the owner's life expectancy. Ironing clothes isn't about the fabric, it's about social perception. The human brain runs on automatic mental shortcuts. A perfectly pressed shirt triggers anyone looking at you to assume all your other qualities are just as positive. Wrinkled clothes get subconsciously read as a sign of chaos and low self-control. You'll be judged as unprofessional before you even open your mouth, just from how the light hits your clothes. The tower holding Big Ben is tilting and sinking unevenly. Thanks to subway tunnels, underground parking, and London's clay soil drying out, the tower is gradually leaning northwest. Right now, the tip is already off-center by about 1.5 feet from where it should be, and engineers monitor it constantly to make sure the process never speeds up dangerously. Rideshare apps like Uber don't just find you the closest car. They run sophisticated behavioral psychology against their own drivers. They build predictive heat maps and sometimes generate artificial high-demand red zones to physically pull drivers toward a stadium or airport right before an event lets out, keeping them constantly moving and convinced the next ride will be the big payoff. CrossFit carries a real biological risk called rhabdomyolysis. Push a muscle to total failure over and over without enough recovery, and the muscle fibers literally rupture and die. As they break apart, they dump a protein called myoglobin straight into the bloodstream. That protein is so dense it can completely clog the kidneys, triggering fatal acute kidney failure in under 24 hours if it's not treated in time. On bullet trains going 185 miles an hour, seat layout isn't about comfort, it's about physics and safety. The train leans through curves, and engineers calculate axle load down to the millimeter. Cars on one side can never weigh more than the other. Every seat, aisle, bathroom, and air vent is placed like a perfectly balanced scale to stop centrifugal force from derailing the train. Digging through a flea market fires up the ancient hunter-gatherer reward circuit in your brain. In a neat, predictable supermarket, your brain gets bored and dopamine stays flat. In flea market chaos, finding a bargain or a one-of-a-kind piece triggers the exact same dopamine spike our prehistoric ancestors got from stumbling on a fruit-loaded bush hidden in the forest after hours of searching. We're always told to grab lemons to boost our immune system, but raw red bell pepper or kiwi actually packs way more vitamin C. Lemons became historically famous for fighting scurvy on ships, not because they were vitamin C champions, but because their thick peel let them survive months in a ship's hold without rotting, while every other fruit had already gone bad. Modern scanning electron microscopes are barely used to look at cells anymore. They're the master tools of precision engineering worldwide. The semiconductor industry uses them to verify that the circuits inside your phone's microchips, some just nanometers wide, are properly soldered. In forensics, they detect gunshot residue at the atomic level on a suspect's hands, or figure out exactly why a bridge of steel failed. The Brazilian wandering spider is one of the most venomous on Earth, and it commonly hides in banana bunches. Its neurotoxin causes loss of muscle control and breathing trouble, but it has one especially grim side effect in men: an extremely painful priapism that can last for hours before the victim dies. Scientists are actively studying its venom to develop treatments for erectile dysfunction. Building a keyboard barely 1/10 of an inch thick into a tablet case is a nightmare of microscopic engineering. With no room for a normal mechanical spring, engineers invented scissor mechanisms and magnetic levitation instead. To trick your brain into physically feeling a key press with zero real travel, haptic motors sit under the screen, firing a precise vibration straight into your fingertip at the exact right moment. You're not getting clumsier or more forgetful from using your phone constantly. Your brain is simply optimizing. It knows you've got a device in your pocket, so it decides memorizing your mom's phone number or the capital of Kazakhstan is a waste of energy. Instead of storing the fact itself, it deletes the content and only keeps the path to find it again, deciding which app to open or what to Google. The Rain Room in London is an art installation that allows visitors to walk through a room filled with rain without getting wet. Thanks to an advanced sensor system that detects movement and blocks water flow in real time, people can calmly walk beneath a heavy downpour without a single drop touching them. An experience that blends art, technology, and nature. A very unusual vehicle can rotate 360 degrees on its own axis. Just as it sounds, it can complete a full turn without moving forward or backward, even a single inch. Number 6, end quote. This maneuverability is ideal for tight spaces or situations where a normal turn would be impossible. Its secret lies in special wheels that allow movement in every direction, almost as if it were floating above the pavement. The drink, known as a vapor cloud cocktail, is a unique visual experience prepared with a device called a flavor blaster. This machine injects aromatic bubbles onto the drink, creating a cloud of vapor that adds a theatrical touch to the cocktail. The vaporized mixture is made from edible essences and not only improves the appearance of the drink, but also enhances its flavor. In 1949, Pablo Picasso collaborated with photographer Guillaume Milly, creating luminous strokes in the air and leaving traces of his art in space. They used the light painting technique, where long exposure photography allows drawing with a moving light source. It was an innovative way of painting that combined photographic technology with artistic genius in a truly unique form. The Barat is a traditional wedding procession in India, an event filled with music, dance, and massive celebrations. The groom arrives at the ceremony in a ceremonial vehicle accompanied by friends, family, and a musical band playing festive songs. This parade not only symbolizes the groom's arrival at the wedding, but also the union of two families and entire communities. The Tweetsie Railroad Park in North Carolina organizes a themed experience every fall known as the Ghost Train. This activity consists of a nighttime visit aboard an old Western train decorated with spooky Halloween themes. Passengers are transported into a terrifying setting where special effects, eerie lights, and actors dressed as horror characters create a unique and unforgettable atmosphere. Quicksand is a natural trap that can form near the shoreline on beaches that appear calm. You walk confidently, and suddenly your feet sink into sticky mud that traps you as if it were hugging you. The key is not to panic, although that is easier said than done when you find yourself in that desperate situation with the water slowly rising. Chefchaouen, the blue city of Morocco, is famous for its blue-painted streets and houses, a tradition symbolizing serenity and spirituality in local culture. Its vibrant color attracts tourists from around the world, searching for peace in its beautiful hidden corners. The entire city looks like something out of a dream, with every alley offering a different perspective of that hypnotic signature blue. In Northampton, England, a fleet of delivery robots the size of a microwave is changing the way urban deliveries are made. These autonomous robots transport small packages through the streets, reducing traffic and carbon emissions in crowded areas. Their compact size allows them to navigate traffic efficiently, contributing to greater sustainability in dense urban zones. The shoebill is a rare and large bird that inhabits the swamps of Central and Eastern Africa. Its most distinctive feature is its beak, which has an unmistakable shape similar to a shoe. This bird, known for its solitary and silent behavior, stands out in the animal world because of its unusual appearance and strange habits. It is difficult to spot because of its elusive nature. The Aeronus flying gondola is like a helicopter from the future that takes off and lands vertically, but then flies like a conventional airplane, all without turbulence, smooth as butter according to its creators. Traveling through the sky with the stability of a train is almost becoming an accessible reality. A design that reinvents personal air transportation by combining the best features of different vehicles into one integrated machine. The Boar's Crash and Skeeter Flips are an acrobatic demonstration that uses a device similar to a playground seesaw. The teeterboard, made from oak in its strongest version, allows spectacular jumps and extreme high-altitude acrobatics. This apparatus is known for catapulting athletes to impressive heights, turning it into an extreme challenge that requires skill synchronization and a great deal of courage. In Beijing, China, a robot named Choi made history by conducting an orchestra and performing music created by artificial intelligence. This incredible demonstration of collaboration between machine and art opens a new chapter in music and technology. The robot was programmed to understand rhythm, dynamics, and emotion in compositions, showing how artificial intelligence can complement human talent. Grayson Boucher, known as Professor Live, is famous for his pranks and challenges on basketball courts. In his videos, Grayson disguises himself as a nerd, surprising players with unexpected moves and funny jokes. His recordings, such as the one filmed at Venice Beach in Los Angeles, have gone viral because of the creativity and humor he brings to every unexpected sports encounter. A very unusual portable printer fits in your pocket and can print on almost any surface, a t-shirt, a wall, wood, metal, or cardboard, without any problem. This small device works by moving its print head across the chosen surface, and within seconds leaves the text or design you select. It is ideal for customizing objects, creating creative marketing, or leaving unique messages wherever you want with sharp lines and vivid colors. The Infinite Dode Lamp by Cadron has a geometric shape with 2 ice cream cones and uses LED lights and internal mirrors to create an infinite depth visual effect. As the light reflects through the internal mirrors, the lamp appears to extend endlessly, offering a unique and fascinating visual experience. Its design combines art, optics, and modern lighting technology in a surprising way. Unitree humanoid robots participate in kickboxing-style matches with synchronized movements and real-time responses. They use motion sensors, articulated motors, and prediction algorithms to anticipate and execute strikes. Every action is measured and adjusted with incredible precision, allowing highly realistic combat simulations. These competitions serve as testing grounds for developments in artificial intelligence applied to human movement. At the Grand Canyon West, tourists can enjoy extreme activities such as zip lining, reaching speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. This activity allows participants to launch themselves from a cliff more than 980 feet high, delivering a pure adrenaline experience while enjoying panoramic canyon views. It is one of the most popular attractions in the area for adventurers from around the world. Alexa Mead is an artist who paints on human bodies and 3-dimensional objects, creating optical illusions that make people appear transformed into 2-dimensional portraits. Through her technique, she manages to emphasize depth and collapse perspectives, completely challenging the way we normally see the world. Her work is a fascinating example of how art can play with perception in a completely innovative way. The Exin robot is designed to climb skyscrapers and clean solar panels with extraordinary precision. Its advanced technology allows it to move accurately across vertical surfaces, preventing humans from carrying out dangerous tasks at extreme heights. This robot reduces workplace risks and ensures solar panels maintain efficiency through constant and meticulous cleaning, opening new possibilities for modern industrial maintenance. A vending machine for mobile phone cases is an innovative business solution that has gained popularity because of its high profitability. These automated devices allow consumers to customize and purchase phone cases within minutes without the need for human staff. The machine offers a variety of designs, materials, and sizes adapted to different models on today's market. In Tokyo, there are very practical vending machines that sell umbrellas ideal for unexpected rainy days. These machines are located at strategic points throughout the city, offering umbrellas priced between $3 and $10. They are especially useful for people caught in the rain without warning, and many include models of different sizes and qualities. 46% of all the trash mass in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is abandoned commercial fishing nets lost at sea. Those plastic straws everyone worries about make up a tiny fraction. These nets are called ghost nets. Even with nobody pulling them, they drift for centuries, silently strangling and drowning thousands of dolphins, turtles, and sharks with nobody watching or stopping it. About 40% of all private jet flights worldwide take off completely empty. If a billionaire charters a jet from New York to London and stays in Europe, the company has to fly that plane back empty to base to pick up the next client. These repositioning flights burn tons of jet fuel purely to move an empty metal tube from one side of the planet to the other. And that's a wrap. Smash that like, subscribe to Zarpado, and hit the bell. Send this to someone who loves learning something new, they'll thank you for it. See you in the next one.